going. Let's make our way to, we'll make our way to any space that we want to start our practice. So reclined, seated, child's pose, probably not standing unless you just want to wait a while. See, yeah, and get comfortable. So determine where you want your arms and legs to be. And once you've found your spot, maybe wiggle into that space to settle in. And we'll close our eyes as we start to tap into our Ujjayi breath. You all right, bubbies? I think you drank too fast. You drank too fast. That's okay. Yeah. All right. You totally got everybody off track, bubby. It's okay. All right. Yeah, so as we come into our space, we're going to start to tap into our Ujjayi breath. So inhaling and exhaling through the nose, letting go of any thoughts or worries so that we can focus our mind on our practice. And as we inhale, we'll feel the space right below the navel start to lift. As it draws upward, feeling an expansion through our bellies, the side bodies, the rib cage, and our breath draws all the way up to where it lifts the collarbones. And then our exhalation, we'll feel our belly button draw in towards the spine, allowing us to use all three parts of the lungs. Our Ujjayi breath is an audible breath. So we're going to hear a snoring like sound in the back of the throat, kind of like we're fogging up a mirror with our nose. So you want to hear your breath. Let's see if we can create a rhythm where we inhale to the count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just continuing with this rhythm, knowing your breath will fluctuate throughout the practice. So you know that you can always add or subtract any counts. What's most important is that you are breathing. So if your mind starts to wander, you start to think about your to-do list, that's usually an indication that our breath is shallow or we've started to hold the breath. So maybe use that as your reminder to return back to it. And while you're tuning in, I've been talking about the niyamas, which are our inner practices and our self-relationships, the second of the 8 limbs of yoga. There are 5 different parts, and we're talking about Santosha, which translates to contentment, but using a definition of joy without conditions. And our focus for this practice is gratitude in motion. So today, let your movement become an expression of gratitude. Not gratitude because your body moves a certain way, but because it moves. Not because your balance is steady, but because you're willing to wobble and keep showing up. Not because every pose feels effortless, but because every breath is an opportunity to begin again. So as you flow, notice the small moments of gratitude isn't something that we arrive at, it's something that we have to practice. So maybe think about something that you're grateful for. Maybe it's showing up to your mat today. Maybe it's just giving yourself this time, this practice. Maybe it's just that you're here with your other teacher trainees, your other friends, you're grateful for community, grateful for this body that moves, grateful for this breath. Because the more that we can think and point out different aspects that we're grateful for, the easier gratitude becomes. We'll take another big breath in here. Exhale, let it go. And on your next inhale, let's find some movement. So maybe if we're on our backs, it's a nice full body stretch. If we're in another shape, maybe getting into the torso or walking the hands from side to side or whatever else feels organic at this moment. And then either from that reclined space or from a seated position, we'll all bring our hands together at our heart center, our Anjali Mudra, as we set our intention for our practice, which might be Santosha, or joy without conditions, with a focus of gratitude in motion. Or maybe something else comes to mind that speaks to you in this moment. Please honor that. And we'll take another big breath in here. Exhale, let it go. And then when you're ready, start to open up the eyes. There's no rush at all, but we'll start to bring in some movement. We're eventually going to meet together in a standing forward fold at the front of our mats. Again, no rush to get there. Just make sure that when you get there, you have a strap nearby. You get there sooner than later, maybe find some movement here, shake the head out, check in with your breath as you're in this upside down shape. 2 breaths as we inhale. Exhale. Big breath in, filling up the belly, the side bodies. On our exhale, release any arm variation you have and take hold of your strap as we roll it up to standing. Once we're up to standing, we're going to take the strap in between our hands. It needs to be wider than your shoulders, but you're going to have to figure out what that is. These straps are long, so at least bring it in half. I've got a shorty strap because I'm a shorty. So um, the real determination of where they need to be is going to take place when we start to bring them forward and back. So you don't want this to be so easy that you could move at a really rapid pace, but you don't want it to be so challenging that you have to maneuver your arms in a weird way to get it forward and back. So find a space where you're feeling it. You have to go a little bit slower. And then once you have that, maybe close your eyes. We're inhaling as we draw the strap back. We're exhaling as we bring it forward. Next time that you bring it back, we're not going to bring it all the way back. Going to be a little bit behind the head, around the neck area as we lift up through the gaze, breathing into the heart center, breathing into those shoulders. Maybe close the eyes, expanding the rib cage as you inhale. Exhale, feeling the belly button draw in towards the spine. Big breath in. Exhale. And then we're going to go from side to side. So doesn't matter which side you started, but you might most likely will have to create a little bit more space now in this variation. Feel free to linger. And next time that you lean in towards the mirror side, as that right arm is up, we'll hold it here. We can gaze towards the paintings, breathing space in between the ribs here. One more big breath in. Exhale. And then we'll switch it out. We'll lean in towards the paintings. Left arm is up, right arm is down as we gaze towards the mirror side. Big breath in. Exhale. And then bring the strap above the head. We're going to bring it back behind us to where our palms face outward. You might have to choke up on the strap a little bit more to make it a little bit more beneficial for opening up as you straighten through the arms and lift up your gaze. And then on our exhale, coming into a forward fold. So bend the knees as much as you like as you come into this shape. Letting your head relax. Checking in with your breath. If you want to shake out the head, you can. Yeah, if you want to bring the arms from one side and the other, you can here. You got to take another big breath in. Exhale, we'll release the strap. We can place it to the side. And then we'll bring our feet in towards one another, lengthening halfway. So fingertips to toes or hands to shins as we lengthen. Exhaling into our forward fold. Let's plant the palms, bringing our gaze forward as we step it back into our plank or our push-up position, nice and strong, really spreading through the fingers. Breathing into those side bodies, so feel the ribcage expand as you inhale. Feel the belly button draw in towards the spine as you exhale. Big breath in. Exhale, lowering to your belly for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. We're all the way down. Tops of the feet coming to the mat. Hands are underneath our shoulders, and we'll inhale, lifting up cobra pose, bhujangasana. Exhale, we lower. And start to move through these at your pace. Feel free to change up anything, maybe coming onto your fingertips in a wide stance and working in some shoulder dips. Next time the forehead lowers, let's make our way into our first down dog. So we'll tuck those toes under, hands are underneath the shoulders as we lift up those hips nice and high. And let's find some movement in this first down dog. So maybe we're bicycling the legs. We might bend the knees as we move our hips from side to side. Lionel. Lord, boy. Gosh. You're so silly. Don't blame me if you're choking on the salt water. Let's take a couple more breaths as we inhale. Exhale. Big breath in. And exhale. So inhale, shift it forward. Exhale, we're going to lower all the way onto our bellies. Once we're all the way down, come into sphinx pose. So we're coming onto our forearms. We're going to wiggle a little bit into those hips. If you feel any discomfort in the lower back, you can just feel a little bit of a lift with the belly button. That should help. And think about bringing those arms back as you work the shoulders back and lift up through the chest. You can also start to move the head around. That feels nice. And then work those arms back as you keep bringing those shoulders back and lift up through the chest and gaze. Maybe even breathe into the neck here. Big breath in. Exhale. From here, we're bending our elbows and bringing our hands to each side of the head. So you might have to walk those elbows a little bit further forward. And once you have those hands to each side of the head, lift up the left arm so you're opening it up towards the mirrors, pushing into the right elbow. And then you're going to switch it out. So left elbow comes down, right elbow lifts as we open it up towards the paintings. And then start to move through that on your own. So you might close your eyes, determining the pace that you want, determining how far you want to go into it or how far the body is wanting you to go into it. The next time that you're opening it up towards the paintings, that'll be your last time, and then we'll lower that arm down. We'll extend through the arms. We can give ourselves a little bit of a shake here. And then slide the hands back to where they're underneath the shoulders and push back into your tabletop position. From that tabletop position, bring your right leg out to the side to where those toes will face the side of your mats towards the paintings. And then start to lean into that side, opening up in this hip as you shift into it and out of it. Next time you lean into it, walk your hands over here for a supported side plank. So you can always have a block with you if that's helpful. You can bring it to the inside or outside of the foot. If you're having it in the inside, use your elbow to push against the knee and the knee to push against the elbow. If you have it to the outside, it allows you to lean back a little bit more. And then we reach that left arm up. You could create a diagonal with that arm. Or if you wanted to work a partial or a full bind, you could also do that. What's most important is that you're leaning back to open up for the chest, stacking shoulder on top of shoulder. Big breath in. Exhale. And then lift up the torso. You might tuck your left toes under like I am. We're coming into a variation of half camel. So the left hand going up to the small of our back as we reach up through the right fingertips. Or we might take hold of that heel. Keep pushing your hips forward as you lift up through the chest. Gaze can go up towards those right fingertips. Big breath in. Exhale, side angle. We're just gonna move through these two shapes on our own. If you wanna hold them for a full breath, cool. If you just wanna go from one to the other, as you exhale, you're in side angle, inhale into your half camel. There isn't a wrong way. We'll eventually meet in our half camel, and we'll continue to push those hips forward as we lift up through the heart center. Big inhale. Exhale, gaze straight ahead. Step your right foot forward, and then bring your hands down. You might scooch that knee back. And then we'll straighten through this right leg as we come into a half splits twist. So you can always have a block underneath the left hand to bring the floor closer to you at the same time. You're gonna feel that in the outer leg. Really nice. Take one more big breath in. Exhale, rebend that knee, bring both hands down. And we'll pick up the back knee to find that runner's lunge. Plant your hands where you push the floor away for one-legged down dog, and we'll open up that hip, heel to behind, knee up towards the ceiling. Stay there or start to make some circles. Yeah, make sure you go in both directions. And then next inhale, we'll straighten that leg. Exhale, knee draws to nose. And we're gonna lower that knee at the center of our mat. We'll swing that leg out to the side as we come into gate pose. So we'll face the mirror side. And we're gonna reach that right arm up and overhead. You can also place that hand behind the head as a reminder to sit back into the pose. Breathing into your side body. And maybe close the eyes here. Really breathe into that space. One more big breath in here. Exhale, gaze to the back of your mat. We're setting up for half splits, so we're gonna swing that right leg back and we'll frame that leg with our hands. You can always have a bend in that knee. You can always have blocks to each side. You could also move into the full splits or the full Anamanasana if that's in your practice. Couple more breaths here as we inhale. Exhale. Big breath in, fill up the belly. Exhale. So bend that left knee, shift it forward for runner's lunge. Right hand down, left arm up as we come into our runner's twist, opening up towards the paintings. You can always stay here, or you might come into horizon lunge, come to the outer edges of both feet as you reach your left fingertips towards the windows. Big breath in. Exhale, we're lowering that Bottom leg or the right leg as we come into cow face or Gomukhasana legs. So stacking that left knee on top of the right. You can always have a block underneath you, or you can make this more of a seated twist leg variation. You can wiggle into that space. And then start to reach your left arm forward as you bring the right hand behind the head. Use your head to push into that hand to open up through that side. As you exhale, see if you can bring your right elbow towards that left elbow. And this is going to be the movement that we're creating. So find a rhythm that works for you. Maybe close the eyes. You inhale, opening. Exhale, we close. Next time we open, hold here, breathe into that side space. On our exhale, both hands come to the back of your mat. And we're unraveling the legs, so we're walking towards the mirror side. We magically come into this wide stance. We'll come into a wide forward fold of preference. So you can make this like a really wide down dog, bringing your hands forward. You can walk your hands underneath you. You could also reach for your ankles or the sides of your feet, or bring your fingertips in line with your toes, creating 90-degree angles with the arms. Whatever version you choose, make sure you're shifting your weight forward so you're not into the heels. Bending the knees is more than acceptable. So bend the knees if that's what you need to do to bring that weight forward. And notice what your breath is doing. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. Take a few more breaths here as we inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Big breath in. And exhale. So we'll come onto our fingertips in a flat back here. Keeping the left hand down, we'll reach the right arm up as we open it up towards the windows, stacking shoulder on top of shoulder. So you might play with lifting up those heels. Feel your core engage as you shift forward. You're going to feel that little lift there. That's Uddiyana Bandha. That's our solar plexus lock. Big breath in. As we exhale, face forward, lower your back knee down, and your left arm will come up as we come into supported exalted warrior. So you can either gaze past your right shoulder up towards those left fingertips. You can also sink a little bit deeper into that forward leg, breathing into that left hip flexor. Big breath in. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down. As soon as those hands plant, come back onto your belly for Sphinx pose. So we can wiggle into this. Can work those shoulders back, lifting up through the chest, whatever feels nice here for a moment. Maybe you're closing the eyes and just checking in with that breath. Feeling that rib cage expand like you have gills. One more breath in. Exhale. Let's bend those arms. We're bringing those hands to each side of the head so we can bring those elbows further forward. And then from this space, we're going to lift up the right arm, open it up towards the paintings. And then we'll close and then we'll open up towards the mirrors and just moving from side to side here. Maybe with a little bit more ease since we've already been here. Or maybe not. It's more of a, an experiment and to see what's happening rather than being concerned one way or the other. Next time you open it up towards the paintings, actually that's your second to last one. And the next time you open it up towards the mirrors, that'll be your last one. And then we'll extend through the arms, bringing those hands underneath the shoulders as we come into our tabletop position. Once we have that tabletop position, bring that left leg out to the side to where your toes are going to face the mirrors. And we're moving in and out of this hip. Next time you lean into that leg, we'll walk our hands over to come into our version of our supported side angle. So if you like using a block, you can. Obviously, it doesn't have to be the same from one side to the next. Choosing an arm variation that you like. Big breath in. Exhale. And then we lift up the torso for our half camel. So maybe have those toes tucked under as you reach for the small of your back, or that heel pushing those hips forward, gaze is lifting. Big breath in. Exhale. And then we move from side to side. So finding a rhythm that works for you may be very different than the first side. Next time you're in your half camel, we'll hold it there, pushing the hips forward as we lift up through the gaze. Inhaling. Exhale, gaze forward. Step your left foot forward and then bring those hands down so you might scoot your knee back. Half splits twist as we open it up towards the mirror side. Big breath in. Exhale, rebend that knee, bring the hand down. One-legged down dog, opening up that hip, heel to behind, knee up towards the ceiling. Can stay there. We can start to make some circles going in one direction. And as you inhale, we'll straighten that leg. Exhale, knee draws to nose. Plant that knee at the center of your mats. As we come into gate pose facing the painting, so you can swing that left leg out. And we'll reach that left arm overhead, or we can bring that hand behind the head. As a reminder, just lean back as we breathe into that left side body. One more big breath in. Exhale, we'll gaze to the back. Half splits, so swing your left leg back as you frame that leg. Option to have blocks. Option to go into the full variation if that's in your practice. Option to bend that knee a lot, bringing your chest and thigh closer to one another. So lots of different options here. Exhale. From here, we'll shift it forward to our runner's lunge. To our twist, so left hand is down, right arm reaches up. Option to horizon lunge, come to the outer edges of both feet as we reach towards the front of the room or towards the window. Inhale. Exhale, lower that bottom leg, and we'll come into our cow face legs or Gomukhasana legs. Maybe we use a prop. Maybe we decide it's more of a seated twist variation. We can wiggle into that space. Let's reach that right arm out to the side. Left arm comes back behind the head so that we use that hand as a pillow to sit back against. And we'll start to open and close here like we did on the other side. Next time you sit back and do it, hold it here, breathe into that left side. Exhale, both hands come to the back of your mat. We unravel by walking our hands towards the paintings, coming into that wide forward fold. So find a variation you like. Maybe it's the same as what you did previously, or maybe you change it up. There is no right or wrong. It's just whatever you're feeling. Just want to shift our weight forward. Big breath in. Exhale. Come on to your fingertips in a flat back. Right hand down, left arm reaches up as we twist it open towards the front or towards the windows. Inhale. On our exhale, face forward, lower your right knee. Lift up your right arm for your supported exalted, so you're leaning in towards the mirror side. Gaze could be past your shoulder, up towards the fingertips. Big breath in. Exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Feet come together at the front of your mat, forward fold. Just let it go, let yourself flow. Take a full breath here. Exhale, let it go. Toe heel your feet in closer to one another as we roll all the way up to standing. Can reach those arms up overhead, maybe find a little bit of a back bend. Exhale, bring those arms down by your side. So traditional mountain pose, bring the palms forward, working those shoulders back, and close down the eyes for a moment. Breathing space into the side bodies. Big inhale. Exhale. One more big breath in. Exhale. All right, we'll inhale, reaching those arms up, gaze lifts. Exhale, forward fold, swan diving or bringing the hands through the heart. Inhale, we lengthen halfway, Ardha Uttanasana, so fingertips to toes or hands to shins. And then as we exhale, plant the hands. Keep your gaze forward as you step those feet back, coming into a plank pose. Option to move through a vinyasa of choice or go to your down dog. We'll start to move into our first main sequence, which is going to feel fully familiar since it was already in the warm-up. So our peanut butter, we'll inhale, reaching that right leg up. As we exhale, knee draws to nose. And we're planting that knee at the center of our mat, setting up for gate post. So swing that leg out towards the paintings as you lift up the torso, reaching that right arm up and overhead, breathing in space. 2 breaths as we inhale. Exhale. Big breath in. Exhale, gaze to the back of your mat. Half splits, or maybe it's full. You choose. We're here for a few breaths. Love the variation. One more big breath here. Exhale. Let's shift it forward, runner's lunge, to our twist. So right hand is down, left arm reaches up. Stay here or find that horizon lunge. Come to the outer edges of both feet as you reach towards the front. Inhale. Exhale, lower that bottom leg, cow face legs as we face the side of our mat so we can wiggle into that space. We're going to walk those left fingertips towards the windows as we bring the right hand behind the head. And we're just going to open and close on our own here. So maybe it's really slow. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's more breath per movement. Next time you open it up, hold it there. Really breathing. Maybe shine that chest towards the ceiling a little bit more. Inhale. Exhale, both hands come to the back of your mat. And we walk towards the mirrors to unravel as we come into our pasarita twist. So left hand is down, right arm reaches up as we open it up towards the windows. Keep shifting forward so you feel that lift in the abdominals as we inhale. Exhale, face the front, left knee lowers, left arm comes up as we come into our supported exalted. Maybe sink a little bit deeper into that forward leg. Inhale. Exhale, cartwheel those hands down. Option to step it back to down dog or move through a flow if that's in your practice. Which means that's our peanut butter. First side is done. From our down dog, left leg lifts. Knee draws the nose. Plant that knee at the center of your mat, setting up for gate pose. We'll swing that leg to the side as we face the paintings. Left arm reaches up and over. Breathing into that space, so keep sitting back into the pose as you breathe into that side body. Inhale. Exhale. Big breath here. Exhale, gaze to the back. Half splits or full Uttanasana. Got a few breaths here. Let your head relax once you find your spot. One more breath in. Exhale. Shift it forward, runner's lunge. To our twist, left hand is down, right arm reaches up. Option to horizon. Inhale. Exhale, lower it down for your cow face legs. Find a little bit of a wiggle. Walk that right arm forward as that left hand comes back behind the head. And we'll start to open and close here. Next time you sit back into this, see if you can shine your chest a little bit more open towards the ceiling. Big breath in. Exhale, we'll bring our hands to the back of the mat. We unravel by walking our hands towards the paintings for our wide twist. So right hand is down, left arm reaches up. Big breath in. Exhale, face forward, right knee lowers. Right arm is up for our supported exalted. Leaning into that forward leg to feel that right hip flexor. One more breath in. Exhale, cartwheel those hands down. Option to make your way to down dog however you want, or any resting position of choice. How we doing? All right. Well, we've got jelly next, and jelly starts on our belly, which is my favorite rhyme this week. This week, all right? Maybe next week, a different rhyme. So get a drink of water, towel off, or beware of the walking towel. Herbert is like, I've never needed so little towels in my entire life. Yeah. You're a stinky. All right. We're going to do jelly on our bellies, like I said. You might have your strap nearby, just in case. And let's find a little bit of a wiggle here. What are we practicing? We're practicing Santosha, so joy without conditions, gratitude in motion. So work those shoulders back as you lift up through the chest. Take a big breath in. Exhale. Let's do that again. Feel the side bodies expand. Maybe close your eyes as you inhale. And exhale. We'll bend those arms, bring the hands behind our head, but we're only going to open up to each side one time. So push into the right elbow as you lift up the left. And lower that down. Check out the other side. Inhale. Exhale, we lower. Straighten out those arms. And then slide the hands back. Tabletop. From our tabletop, bring that right leg out to the side so those toes are to face the side. So we have the option that we did in the warm-up to where we can come into our side angle. I'm going to show you a supported version of Visvamitrasana, which is called superpose sometimes. So these are just options. This is where you might want to have your strap nearby. So hands come into the inside of that right foot, kind of like a lizard pose. So you want to lower down a little bit more, thinking about drawing your shoulders back and your chest and gaze forward. Maybe you can bring your shoulder underneath the leg like a backpack. You want it to kind of sit into that space to where when you push into both hands, it lifts up the foot. If that works, keep in mind you can also have a block underneath your right hand. You might take your big toe or the outside of your foot or your strap around your foot to come into, it's like a compass variation so you bring your head underneath that arm as you straighten through that leg. Without the strap, you'd have your hand to the outside of that foot or that big toe as you gaze underneath. Nice. Awesome. If for some reason you're like, this is so easy, because it is a supported version, and I always recommend doing a supported version first so you can feel it in your body. If you want to know what the full version looks like, that doesn't mean you have to try it. That means you're exposed to it, which I feel like is one of the most important aspects of the practice. Like you're in side angle or warrior two legs, and you're bringing that leg underneath to come into Visva. Just beware, because when you start to lift up that leg, that extended leg is like, it becomes like that. This is the true jelly that I'm talking about, right? And you see, it is not an easy thing to keep grounded when you're focused on the other leg. And if you're like, you know what, the supported version was kind of hard, I'm good. That is totally perfect. That is why I said exposure to it. Don't worry if it's not happening today. Do you think this is an easy pose? It is absolutely not an easy pose. But if you wanted to see what it looks like, hey, try it. See what happens. The good thing about trying it, if it was semi-successful, that means you're going to get successful pretty quickly if you try it again. Not necessarily the exact next time, but it'll come quicker than you think. So that's the only thing we're adding on the whole time. And we're only doing it once on each side. So we'll meet back in our supported side angle. Maybe you already have those back toes tucked under if you like that variation. You know you can also reach for your heel without the toes tucked. And then we'll move into our half camel. So that left hand comes swallow the back, where we find our heel as we push those hips forward, lifting up through the heart center, breathing space. So try not to hold your breath. If you're holding your breath, back off a little bit. One more breath in. Exhale, gaze straight ahead. Step your right foot forward and bring your hands down. You might scooch that lefty back. Half splits twist. So we're reaching that right arm up, opening up towards the paintings as we straighten through the right leg. Lovely. Take one more breath in. Exhale, rebend the knee, hands come down. And we're just coming right back onto our belly. So push the mat away to bring your right knee to meet your left. And moving into our sphinx pose. In that sphinx pose, we'll wiggle it a little bit. And then draw the shoulders back as you lift up through the gaze and chest. We inhale. Exhale. Again, big breath in. And exhale. We bend the arms, bring those hands to each side of the head. And we're going to open it up towards the paintings this time first. Big breath in. Exhale, lower. Open it up to the mirrors. Big breath in. Exhale, lower. Straighten those arms. Slide the hands back underneath the shoulders. Tabletop. We bring our left leg out this time. We know we want a strap already. Bring your strap along. We can either come into our supported side angle, or we bring those hands to the inside of that foot, working our shoulders back, chest and gaze is forward. Maybe we're working that shoulder underneath the knee, creating that backpack. Keep using that calf muscle to kind of help bring your shoulder back at the same time. If that's in sync, push into the hands. Maybe find that foot, maybe find your strap. Put it around the foot. Bring your gaze underneath your arm before working that leg straightish. See, usually things like this, I don't like the strap for. This is one situation where I'm like, the strap works for this. Nice. How does that feel even with the strap? You're feeling all that space along the side body, right? Yeah. This pose feels really nice once you get into it. It doesn't matter how it happens. It doesn't have to be your hand to your foot. But that side body stretching is so nice because we're so not doing that on a regular basis in our lives. And obviously, if you wanted to try the full variation, your right leg is straight, like in a warrior two or side angle pose. Emily's thinking about it. She's like, should I? So it's completely grounded down. Your arm comes underneath to lift up that foot, and then you start to work your gaze underneath. Yeah, a transition from that is oftentimes running man, or Ekapada Vinyasa too. Yeah, often. Back of the day, often. All right. So we'll find our side angle. And then we'll find our half camel. Maybe those toes are tucked under. Maybe we're finding the small of our back. Whatever we choose, push those hips forward, lift up through the heart center, breathe into the side bodies. Big breath in. Exhale, gaze straight ahead. Step that left foot forward. Bring your hands down to scooch that knee back. And we'll come into our half splits twist as we twist it open towards the mirror side. Big breath in. Exhale, rebend that knee, hands come down, and we'll find our forward fold at the front of our mat. Let it go. All right, we've got some good news. Bringing these two together with a little bit more pacing. If you want to, if you're like, I don't want to do it again, poof, then that's also perfectly fine. So let's roll it up to standing. We'll bring those shoulders up, back, and down. We're practicing Santosha, so joy without conditions, gratitude in motion. Arms reach, gaze lifts. Exhale into our forward fold. Inhale, we lengthen. And then hands plant as we make our way to our down dog, however you want to get there. Lionel. From our down dog, inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, knee draws to nose, gate pose facing the mirrors. So we'll reach that right arm up and over. And then as we exhale, gaze to the back, half splits to the back. Full breath in. Exhale, bend that knee, shift it forward, runners, to our runner's twist, to our horizon lunge, where we lower it down, cow face, legs facing the side. Left arm reaches out as right hand comes behind the head, and we inhale. Exhale, we'll close. Inhale, we open, hold it here. Exhale, hands come to the back. Walk towards the mirrors to unravel for your wide twist. So left hand is down, right arm reaches up. We face forward, supported, exalted, left knee down, left arm up. We'll cartwheel it down, coming onto our bellies for our sphinx pose, where we'll inhale, exhale, bend the arms. We open it up towards the mirrors, and then we open it up towards the paintings. We straighten those arms, sliding the hands back for our tabletop position. Right leg comes out to the side. We come into side angle to our half camel. We'll gaze forward, right foot steps forward, hands come down, and then we straighten through that leg for our half splits twist. We'll rebend, bringing those hands down, making our way to down dog however we want to get there because our first side is done. From that down dog, inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, knee to center for gate pose, facing the paintings. Left arm comes up and over. And then we gaze to the back for our half splits. Big breath in. Exhale, shift it forward for runners to our twist. Left hand down, right arm reaches up. To our horizon, where we'll find our seat in our cow-faced legs. Right arm walks forward as that left hand comes behind the head, and we inhale. Exhale, we close. Inhale, we open. Exhale, hands come to the back. Walk your hands towards the paintings for that wide twist. Right hand is down, left arm reaches up. And then we face forward. Right knee lowers, right arm comes up as we come into our supported exalted, leaning in towards the mirror side. Cartwheel it down. Sphinx pose. We'll come on to our bellies. We inhale. Exhale. Hands come to head. And we'll open it up towards the paintings. And lower. We open it up towards the mirrors. And lower. Hands, our arms straighten. Hands come underneath the shoulders, tabletop. Left leg comes out to the side, supported side angle. To our half camel. We gaze forward, left foot steps forward, and then hands come down. So we straighten through the leg, coming into our half splits twist. We'll rebend, and we can just let our knees come together in a tabletop position. Maybe just sway a little bit from side to side, and then we'll make our way onto our seat. Finding an easy seated pose, Sukhasana, where we can place our hands onto our knees and just slow down the breath here because you did it. So let that just sink in for a moment. Maybe put a big smile on your face if you want an advanced version of this pose. And just take a moment to feel. Maybe it's a dog's tongue on your arm, right? Maybe it's just the feeling of being done. Maybe it's that feeling of being content or having Santosha, which is our joy without conditions. We had our gratitude in motion, and now we just have our gratitude for having been in motion. Take as long as you want here, but if you're ready to move, whether that means any other poses or coming onto your back, we'll all eventually make our way to our backs. Can bring any props with us that we might want to have available to us as we start to lower down. And as you come into a reclined shape, maybe find some gentle rocking, like windshield wipering the legs or bringing the knees into your chest, just checking in with the body to see if there is anything else that's needed. And if you've determined, nope, know that shavasana is here for you. But if you need anything else, please get that in. Otherwise, when you make your way into your final pose, please take up space on your mat. So a nice wide stance with the legs, allowing the feet to fall freely to the sides. Arms coming down by your sides with palms facing up. And as you come into your final shape, take a moment to have so much gratitude for showing up to your mat today. So much gratitude for all the hard work that you just put in. And so much gratitude for this feeling, which is the result of those things that you made happen. And only you can make that happen. Which is pretty awesome. You're pretty awesome. Be proud of yourself. Proud of the others that joined you on this journey, providing you their positive energy, their encouragement, this amazing community, this amazing group that we have. Know that I'm so proud of you. Proud of you for showing up, making this commitment to yourself. It's a big commitment. And time is precious. So know that I see you by spending this time to work on yourself through this whole experience, not just this practice. Also proud of just all the hard things that you tried, seeing what could happen, being open to possibility, being open to play, which is just such an important aspect because adults don't play enough. We need to play more. So thank you for playing with me today. So now just allow your breath to be soft. Allow your body to be still. You made it. So now no worries. Just be. Just be. Start to deepen your breath. Drag your arms up overhead, getting a stretch from your fingertips all the way down to your toes as you awaken to this new body. And then bring the knees into your chest. Give them a nice big hug as you roll to your side in your fetal-like pose. Our pose for new beginnings. And taking this feeling with you, taking this idea of Santosha, or joy without conditions, and gratitude and motion with you as you leave your mat, because that is when our true yoga begins. We'll meet in a seated position of choice. Hands will come to heart center in our Anjali Mudra as we tuck our chin under. And I want to say thank you. I'm really excited about this weekend, getting closer and closer. So, see what happens. Namaste.